9.8 miles per gallon. If I'm doing any towing, I can flip out the moose antlers and we're good to go there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Easton here, and today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. Behind me, I've actually got my Ram, my own personal vehicle, and I've now owned it for over 4 years now. About across 50,000 miles. I think right now we're sitting right around 47, 48. So I want to do a little ownership review, give you guys kind of just my thoughts, issues that I've had, the things that I've loved about the truck, potential, not necessarily issues that I see happening in the future, but things that I'm looking out for, that I'm planning on replacing, and just kind of my overall thoughts on the truck and what I think you guys should do if you're looking for something like this. I'm also going to go over all the aftermarket stuff I've done to it, all that good shebang, like the wheels, the tires. It's going to be a good video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, but let's hop right into it. All right, y'all. So this is my truck. It's a 2021 Ram 1500 Classic Warlock. I've had it for almost 4 years. Like I said, right about 4 year mark. We're coming up on that 50,000 mile mark as far as the miles go. And I wanted to do a little deep dive on the truck. Again, my thoughts, how much I've liked it, things I maybe haven't liked about it, and just overall thoughts. But I did want to start with a little walk around here. And as you can see, this one is in Delmonico red. This one was, honestly, like, this is my favorite color that Ram makes, me personally. I think they have a really nice blue as well, but that Delmonico red has always popped to me. It's always stuck out. I've always just thought it was extremely beautiful. And, you know, with the blacked out fender flares, the blacked out Ram badging, I think it looks pretty good. I think it pops at least. You know, it's not the new body style, right? I believe that the new body style is classified as the DS, and this is classified as the DT. Again, that's where you get that classic title from. Again, because it is still considered a 4th gen Ram, even though it was made in 2021 when Ram switched over to that new body style in 2019. So that's a little walk around. As you can see, I do not have my stock wheels and tires on. These are aftermarket. I've had these Moto Metal rims, gosh, on my first truck since about 2019, and I'll throw that up here, you know, maybe even put some videos in there. I was 15 when I got that truck. You know, I was fortunate enough to, well, have my parents pay for it. I can't even lie, because there's no way in hell I could have afforded it then, and absolutely loved it, and just, you know, wanted to keep continuing, I guess, the legacy of the wheels and tires. You know what I'm saying? I did end up putting a little bit different tire on because, as you know, the more you drive tires, the more you're going to need to replace them. These tires specifically, I believe they've only got about, gosh, 20,000 miles on them. And these are, they're 33-inch BFGs, all-terrain tires, and I've loved them. Before, I used to have Terra grapplers on. They weren't my favorite. They were kind of shit tires, and these have been great. Nice thing about them too is, again, depending on which ones you buy and what packages you're getting, you can get them warranted. I really like them. I like the way that the look's set up. I think that they complement the truck nicely. If we walk around on this side as well. All right, now that we got her straightened out, you can see that there's a little bit of an offset. You know, it's nothing too crazy. I'm a firm believer in less is more. You know, I've never really liked those trucks that just have these big, beefy freaking tires sitting out. It almost looks like, you know, kind of when you put your feet out like this. That's kind of the vibes that I get when I see trucks like that. So I really do like the way that it's set up. As you guys can probably already tell, this is not on the stock suspension. I do have a ready lift suspension kit on there. It's just a leveling kit, right? It's not too crazy of a lift. I think anything over 3 inches is just a bit too much as far as half tons go. The truck's not big enough to be lifted that high, and you just absolutely murk your fuel economy. Not that the fuel economy in this thing is great, but it would just make it a whole hell of a lot worse. The suspension kit's been incredible. It's always rode great. It's always been very tight. It's been very solid. Even almost with 50,000 miles, I haven't had to replace anything in that regard, and I have no complaints there. You know, I am thinking that I am going to have to end up replacing the shocks here pretty soon on the front. As far as the rear goes, I will probably have to have a shop look at it and give me their best recommendations. But I do kind of feel like it is starting to, and this just comes with time and miles, right? I have off-roaded with this truck. I've pulled with this truck. It's not like I've just used it as a pavement princess. I beat the shit out of it in a lot of different ways, but I try to keep it as nice as possible, so I will have to end up replacing those soon. Brakes on this truck, they've been great. I haven't had to replace the brakes either. You know, like I said, 48,000 miles, and the brakes are still going strong. No squeaking, no lag. I think that also comes down to the driver too, how you're driving the vehicle. Because I mean, if you're just mashing on the brakes every time you need to brake, then yeah, you're gonna wear them out a lot quicker. Whereas I know that obviously you give it a little bit of leeway, you know, you kind of go into it a little bit softer, and they just typically last a little bit longer. I do have the side steps on the side here, again, looking at the side profile there, moving around to the back. I did, however, end up throwing on a B2 fabrication mid and muffler delete. I still have my stock resonators. Everything up in the front is the same. I still got my cats, all that good stuff. I think it just sounds a little too loud if you do start to remove all that junk. But if we give it a little remote start here, she's got a nice little purr to her. And I mean, I understand that it is going to be more of a warm start here. It is the middle of summer, even though it is a bit more of a cloudy day. She's got a nice little rumble to her, but let me put the phone on the ground and I'll do some revs for you guys. I don't think she sounds too bad. Again, not too loud, not too quiet. The cold starts in the winter time. I mean, they might wake up the neighbors, but is what it is. I'm 21, I'm young. It's gonna happen regardless, right? Now some little things on the truck. I do got the blinkers hooked up into the mirrors, right? I don't have blind spot monitoring, but I do got my trailer mirrors, right? So I mean, if I'm doing any towing, I can flip out the moose antlers and we're good to go there. And also got my little bullet antenna here. Again, a little just aftermarket feature there. But that primarily covers all my little aftermarket stuff going on. You know, you got your wheels and tires, you got your suspension. I will say, so you can get this little Warlock decal from the factory. However, mine didn't come with it on it. So I just ordered those aftermarket and threw it on because I thought it looked pretty good. All right, guys, now we're basically where dreams and magic happen, right? So we're gonna start her up. And even with the classic trim level, it's really not all as stripped down as it may seem to be, right? I mean, you still have your Apple CarPlay. Now, where it did come out in 2021, it is, well, wired. You don't get the wireless, all right? No big deal there. I have the ability to charge my phone, so I can't really complain. I mean, I know that Jeeps are supposed to have ducks, but I like my little truck duck. And you got Darth Vader chilling up in here too, so he's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Damn, looks like I'm gonna have to get some new freaking wiper washer fluid, guys. This is crazy. So it looks like, again, 47,221 miles. And guys, it's been a great truck. I mean, realistically, I've had no issues whatsoever except for one. For 2 days, my backup camera was not working. It got really, really hot here. I think it has something to do with that. Ran it into the shop and they said the same thing. And when I say it didn't work, it was more or less lagging a lot, right? It was like 104 degrees here. I mean, it's the middle of July in Utah. Global warming, guys, I'm telling you, it's a real thing as I'm driving a freaking V8. But we can switch over back into auto here because we don't need the fancy lights going on out there. But to kind of just, I mean, explain what's going on here, I mean, on this freaking left side of the steering wheel, we've got our ability to flip through our menu here, you know, see through all of our pages. Oh yeah, guys, freaking 9.8 miles per gallon. That is just top tier fuel economy. This is my very first trip meter, started from the very first day I got it. The elapsed time is obviously wrong because it just ends up resetting once it hits a very high number. Down here, this is one of my more recent trip. This is more of a recent trip. And you just have the ability to kind of sift through, and then you got your messages right here, right? Washer fluid low. And it looks like I got a brake light out, right? So, two things that I got to replace right there. Again, guys, it's a 4-year-old truck. You know, these things happen, but no major issues. Backup camera, very small speed bump. Over here, we've got our gear selector. It's, again, 8-speed automatic transmission hooked up to this beautiful 5.7 liter V8 Hemi, making 395 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. She rips and grips, guys. I've got the 392 gear ratio, and let me tell you, she ain't for the faint of heart. Believe it or not, this truck has actually surprised me in a lot of ways. When I first got it, I was doing a lot of retarded drag racing with my friends, high school parking lots, just street racing and stuff like that. And surprisingly, you know, and maybe this was a bad idea for 18-year-old me to be doing, but I was throwing her in 4-wheel drive and we were freaking launching this hoe, dude. And it almost never lost. I mean, maybe to like a sports car every now and then, but I was still smoking WRXs. I was smoking some, you know, boosted GR86s. It was pretty hilarious, actually, because a lot of these kids were like, dude, how'd your freaking truck beat me? But a lot of that also comes down to it being a quad cab. You know, I rarely will have the seats up because, well, I got a lot of crap back here. Well, honestly, it's actually pretty clean for the most part. These are just seat covers because I do want to protect the cloth seating. If you take these off, it almost looks like it's brand new because I've had these on for the majority of the truck's life. You do have your heated seats, heated steering wheel, dual climate control, Alpine sound system. Overall, it's just been an incredible experience. I nothing less, nothing more. You know, it's everything that I need. The only thing that I wish that it had was cooling seats, you know, because that is a nice luxury in the summertime. But ultimately, it served me incredibly well, and I would honestly recommend it as a used vehicle. Because, I mean, something like this, you know, with 45,000 miles, clean title, you could pick up for right around, depending on where you're at and depending on, you know, the vehicle history, on the low end, you know, maybe 25 grand, on the high end, maybe 30. And that's not bad for, you know, a truck in this kind of market. I mean, I look around and I see a lot of these trucks, you know, with hundreds of thousands of miles, you know, like a Chev, Toyota. And I mean, I understand that, you know, as far as the reliability goes, they are incredible. You know, they definitely do beat out Ram on the reliability side of things, but taken from personal experience, I've never had a single issue, and I necessarily can't foresee one happening in the future. Now, I've obviously taken very great care of my vehicle, and it's not for the faint of heart, right? I've owned this since day one. You know, when the very first time I drove it, had like 47 miles on it, something like that. I've always been on top of my services. I've always been on top of, you know, anything that I think could potentially happen. So, I mean, you also do got to be wary of that when looking for a used vehicle. But I did want to do a little test drive and kind of give you guys an idea on how the truck drives. So let's hop into that right now. All right, guys, even got it hooked up to kind of give you a demonstration of the CarPlay. Absolutely great. No complaints here. Let's pop our parking brake and let's take this thing for a little test drive, right? Again, doesn't drone too bad. Freaking nice little rumble from the Hemi, right? Wait for this ram to get out of the way. Not a bad little commuter. I mean, as you guys know, I am a sucker for that Z71 suspension package, and I do get a little bit spoiled when I drive those trucks because when I do get in my Ram, I'm like, I can notice a little bit of a difference. I'll be honest about that. But get a little acceleration test in here. I mean, ripping uphill on 33, skirting tires like that, it don't get more American than that. It don't get more freaking big old V8 than that. And it is a beautiful thing. As you guys saw, no problems with the transmission, no problems with shifting. Oh, now we got another emergency vehicle behind us. Well, hopefully everyone's okay up there. That's not fun. Ah, looks like, I really hope that's not a house fire, man. Really hope that's not a house fire, man. That would suck. Pray for them, you know, and God bless them. Hopefully everyone's okay. Hopefully everybody is okay. But, you know, back to the review, back to the video. Guys, this has been a great truck. I really liked it. I do want to start doing a bit more of a build on this. My cousin, Counterfeit Cowboy, he started doing an absolute monster build on his freaking Tacoma, and it's kind of inspired me to start doing something with my truck. And so I would love to get some recommendations. I mean, should I throw a little bit bigger tire on? Should I do a little bit different of suspension? You guys let me know. I mean, I'm still figuring out the best I can, and I feel like getting advice from other people sometimes can be the best way to go about these things. All right, guys, so that's just gonna about conclude my 4 years of ownership review on my truck. And again, let me know what you guys think. I want to take more recommendations as to what I should do in the future. Things you guys want to see me do in this truck. Like, I mean, don't take that the wrong way. I mean off-roading stuff or like something like that. But give me recommendations. I'd love to hear it. I'm really trying to expand what I do. I don't just want to do car reviews. I want to start to do more personal stuff. Big stuff coming in the works anyways on my side, so I'm pretty excited about that. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.